Welcome to the Chambers We Are Business podcast. I'm your host, Susan Spears. Our guests today are Al Fagan, who is the president and CEO of the Oberle Academy, and Terri Rinko, who is a work-based learning specialist and career readiness leader at King George County Schools. Now, both of these are in the Fredericksburg, Virginia region, and we have a reason that they're here together. But first, Al, Terri, welcome.
Thank you very much, Susan.
Thank you very much, Susan.
Yeah, I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you today. We're here at the Chamber headquarters in Fredericksburg, Virginia on a rainy day, but we are the sunshine, right?
That's right.
You can. We're videoing. You can see the look Al's giving me. What brings us together today? We have so much in common working together in community. But recently, the Chamber had their annual gala and awards, and we presented two special awards, the Community Impact Awards at the gala. And both of your organizations were honored and winners, and big happiness that evening. And so we love that both Community Impact Awards went to folks that are in the field of workforce development, education, and so forth. So we thought it would be a great tie-in to bring you in together and have a broader conversation. Both of you also as community leaders are actively involved at the Chamber of Commerce. And you have been involved with different chambers and boards all throughout each of your careers. So I want to touch on all of that as we get in there today. But first, let's talk about those Community Impact Awards. Let's hear more about your organizations and the great things you have been doing in the community to make such a difference. And then we'll get into why the award mattered to you and some more pieces. So how about ladies go first, and we hear from Terri first.
All right. Well, thank you again so much, Susan, for having me here and representing King George County Schools. Yep. We have been busy in King George County Schools working to build a new formal work-based learning program. Yep. And it's been really important to us that we work very much with intention, that what we create is sustainable, and that people feel that they're a part of what we're creating so that we can do this together, because we can't do it alone. This Community Impact Award was just such an affirmation for us that we really are succeeding in growing a huge network of partners, and that what we're doing at the ground level matters, not just where we are in King George, but to the region, and most importantly to our students in their ability to get living wage opportunities and to be prepared for those opportunities. So again, just a huge affirmation, great. I think, what can I say? It was just huge for our Board of Supervisors. It was huge for our school board. It was huge for our region and our local leaders to also applaud what you all saw in us. So thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. And we will come back and talk some more about the meat of actually what's going on there as well in a minute. Let's get a little bit from Al as well and tell us about what's going on over at Oberle Academy.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for having me here today as well. And at the Oberle Academy, we have gone through, for the last 3 years, we have really made an effort to do more partnerships with organizations around the area, both educational as well as businesses. And we have recently, in the last year or so, expanded greatly our CTE operations. Those are our career and technical education operations. And we are really appreciative of receiving the Community Impact Award. It's like a big pat on the back to us as far as being recognized for what we are doing for the Fredericksburg area. And but in particular, I think it was a really nice award from the standpoint of my team members at the school. I read when we had one of our faculty meetings, I read the part that Dr. Jan Gullickson read at the gala to everybody, and I think there were very few dry eyes after I read that. Everybody was just so appreciative of the award and everything nice being said about us.
That's so cool to hear. And for our listeners, just to give you a little more context there, the president of our local community college, Dr. Janet Gullickson, is on the chamber board, and we asked her to present these awards. So she was just over the moon at presenting them to both of you. And then just to have that whole tie-in at a business community event, right? And it really demonstrates, you both mentioned partnerships, it really demonstrates the strong partnerships between all areas in the community. Business can't work alone. Education can't work alone. Government entities can't work alone. Healthcare can't, all of us need to know what each other are doing and find different ways to support that. But now more than ever, that whole career and technical education, I can remember when people didn't really talk about that as much. Years ago, the Workforce Now program that you've both been involved with, that used to be called the Education Foundation here when I was first at the chamber. We changed the name around 2008 or 9, I think, while I was running it, to Workforce Now, because that really had more to do with what we were doing, which was trying to connect students and people with opportunities. And it's really that simple. You can give it an official mission, language, and all that, but that's the bottom line, and it's what we're all about in our own lanes, And then for our listeners too, as I'm looking at both of you, the Fredericksburg region has 5 localities, and both of your businesses, schools, they're both businesses, are in different parts of the region. And yet here we sit together knowing that the bigger picture the regional picture is so important. So I'm really proud to be here with both of you with that.
Thank you.
Terri, tell us a little bit more about some of the actual things. I recently went to your year-end report out for CTE Eats, which was a super great learning experience for me to hear more firsthand about what's been going on. But tell us a little bit more about the pieces that are actually happening there in the King George schools that really led to this honor.
Well, I can, first of all, I can tell you we were very fortunate in King George to finally have a position where one person could dig in, follow through, chase down opportunities, and bring people together. And that is the work-based learning position.
That's great.
We're so happy about that. We had it in the budget for 4 years.
Oh, wow.
The last of the 4 years, it was the most needed position at the top of the budget and had to be cut from the budget. However, innovative thinking, Christine Hill, Dr. Boyd, just really wanted this for our division. We didn't want to be left behind. There's a national initiative to create work-based learning opportunities for our students, increase the amount that we have available to our students so they can get hands-on training. And so they worked to find internal money. And so that position became available after the school year started in the school year of 2023. So that's what started us working. And then the idea was, okay, so partnerships. We've got to start with formal partnerships. Prior to me coming into this position, there were certain entities in the school that had strong partnerships. We have a very strong marketing program, and DECA, and they have very strong partnerships, as do some of the other CTSOs. But we needed across the board formal partners, and so the first method of business was to get out there and dive in and invite people to be a part of what we were about to start creating together. And we didn't tell them that it meant that they were obligating themselves to anything. We just needed their interest. We called it partner interest forms. And basically everyone that I contacted was excited about what we were about to do. The idea of giving our students the opportunity to get out there and have hands-on training and become better workers and have plans and every student leave with a path. Everyone wants that. But to be a part of that, we started out, I think we had 31 partners, and now we have over 80 formal partners.
Wow, that's a lot.
So to get started in the last year and a half, and then to invite them to be a part of that conversation. And that's where CT Eats came in. And that basically was for us to invite people to come in on their own time, on their own dime and very intentionally invite particular, across the board, all different realm of stakeholders, the local government, federal government, our actual school division, our teachers, businesses, nonprofits, all to be at the table so that you could actually sit across from someone and have a great conversation and realize we're really much closer together than we are apart. It's also been a great venue for people to, even our local school board members who bump into people say, I can't believe we don't have VOTEC anymore, for them to say, you know what, actually we do. Let me invite you to this meeting. And then for them to sit down and hear about the things that we have going on in our welding program and what's going on with our Skills USA, CTSO. And, to hear that person say, gosh, I'm so glad it's back. And for the person sitting across from them, our administrator for CTE, to say, it never went away. And let me introduce you to our welding teacher. He's 2 seats next to you. And then they get into a conversation. And by the end of that conversation, by the end of that meeting, that person comes up to me and says, how can I help? Those are the kinds of great connections that we've been able to start with those CTEs. And the collaboration that has come from those has been the foundation of everything else that has been built upon. We've been able to then go into our reverse career fairs where all I have to do is ask for those people to come into the building and help our students to practice with their interview skills. The students are the ones manning the booths about themselves, their strengths, and their dream jobs. And all of those partners are going in and visiting those booths and extending that hand and giving them an opportunity, give them that good eye contact and saying, tell me about yourself, and letting those students practice that elevator pitch, let them practice those good, powerful questions and answers, so that they'll be more successful when they actually apply for work-based learning experiences. We realized most of our students in 11th grade have not yet held a summer job. So where are they getting the practice? And hearing on the ground, from our local Chick-fil-A, we have a new Chick-fil-A in King George, and hearing, gosh, how, on the side, how he was really surprised. The owner was really surprised at the lack of readiness when he first came in, of students who came in for those first interviews. And now I'll go in and pick up those boxes for the box dinners for some of our CT Eats when we're actually doing something with our, Career and Technical Advisory Committee, and we bring in some dinners, and I'll say, we've been working on that. And for that owner to look at and say, you know what, Terry, I can see it. So that's the types of things that are starting here in King George.
Yeah, that's really exciting, and thank you for sharing that. I hope as people listen from around Virginia and around the country, they're getting ideas for their school systems, or it'll help them with expanding some things they're doing. Now we have a different mission and things that are happening over here at Oberle. So share some of that with us, Al.
Well, I will mention one thing that I saw on TV this morning in relation to what you were just saying. More and more colleges now are starting up a course called Gen Z 101.
Yes, I've heard about that.
And that's a class where the younger generation now learn different things about what you're saying, about how to interview, eye contact, firm shaking hands, all those different used to call soft skills and everything.
Right.
So more and more schools are going that route because the students are not being taught those things in high school.
Correct.
At the present time. So, you seem like King George is well ahead of the game as far as what you're talking about there. We have at Oberle, at the Oberle Academy, we have a number of CTE programs, and one, I guess, that we're most proud of is our EFE program, and EFE stands for Education for Employment. And it is sort of a mix between an intern position and an apprenticeship program.
Okay.
We have, I guess, about 40 different partnerships in the area. We probably use any particular semester about 15 of those. And our students basically attend classes for half the day, say in the morning, and then we transport them over to the different companies that afternoon, and they work for the companies that afternoon. Then the other half of the students, we transport them in the morning, and then they take classes in the afternoon. So we're shuttling students back and forth to businesses around Fredericksburg all day. Some of those are Goodwill, Fraserwood in the past, IHOP, SPCA, just to name a few of the
Super
companies
cool. I mean,
and
you can
everything.
see how the work of those companies could interest Gen Z or what young person.
Young people, maybe, correct. So, exactly. And so what we do, so we provide all the transportation. The company provides the experience and supervises our students. Then they rate them every week on a scale of 1 to 5. Whether did they work properly, were they polite,
Okay, that's
follow
good.
instructions, all these different areas. And then based on the total number of points, then we provide a stipend to each of the students. So the company itself does not pay any of the students. We pay the students up to $160 every 2 weeks.
Wow.
So if they have done poorly for 2 weeks, they might get like a $40 check. And but if they've done really well, then they get a $160 check. It's non-taxable to them, so they don't have to worry about taxes and tax returns. And it's a real big stimulus to induce them to do well in the companies and learn a trade. And then we've also expanded into the other CT areas as well, cosmetology, welding. We're going to be offering welding and HVAC this fall. We just finished up with electrical this year. So we're really expanding in all the different CTE areas.
Yeah, and I believe you all have interesting, or do you still have the cafeteria or
we do
all of that?
We have a culinary arts program.
That's right, culinary arts.
That is
I love
very
that term.
popular as well.
Yeah.
And we also have drone operations. We have computer programming, digital design. So we have quite a few CTE programs that our students are interested in.
Yeah, and as a private organization, where do your students? What are your students like? Where do they come from, and what are your years? Is it K through 12, or how does that work?
No, our school runs from 3rd grade to 12th grade.
Okay.
Our students come from, just running down real quickly, Prince William, Stafford, Spotsylvania, Fredericksburg, King George, Caroline, Westmoreland, Colonial Beach, Orange,
Okay.
Fort Erie, and Loudon.
So the region and a little beyond.
Yeah, it's
That's interesting.
It is. And right now we are in discussions with Hanover, and we're planning on having some discussions pretty soon with Culpeper.
And so for our listeners, really what Al just described went all the way up into Loudon, which is the wealthiest county in the United States of America, but it's in Northern Virginia, right outside of D.C. And talking about Hanover is south of our region, and then Culpeper and so forth. You really are hitting around the perimeter, so word is out about what you're doing. And then when we look over here at King George, so King George is a smaller community in the region, and connected to, we have one of our largest military installations there, which is really a research kind of institution, Dahlgren, a Navy base sort of there. So that probably feeds into a lot of your students there, right?
It does. It does. We're very, very fortunate to have Dahlgren there. We have great access for STEM programs and quite a few scientists and engineers who come in to volunteer and give presentations. So we're very, very fortunate with our location, or our locale being so close to Dahlgren. We also have about 400 military students who feed into King George County schools. King George schools actually just received their Purple Star designation, which showed that we have demonstrated great support for our military students, and that's something we've been striving to be able to prove and create for our military families for several years. So we're very, very fortunate that we obtained that designation this past year.
Thank you for sharing that. So many layers to what everyone's doing to try to have these opportunities there for our future. You know, what trends are there? Are there things on your mind right now? I mean, both kind of were about 2 to 3 years ago starting to lay some groundwork, and now we're here today. Where do we see things in another 3 to 5 years? Any ideas? I know that's a that's one of those ones that can keep you up at night sometimes. Or
Well, I think from our standpoint, we're going to continue to grow our CTE programs. That's our plan. With all of the data centers that are supposed to be moving into this area,
Yes.
the ones that are already moving in down in the Ruther Glen area in Caroline, they're going to be from everything I've read, a massive demand for employees over the next 5 to 10 years, and everybody needs to do whatever they can in order to be able to meet those demands in order for the area to continue to flourish. And so from our standpoint, we're looking at the trade schools. I mean, we have the academic side, of course, in the school, but we're looking at the trade sides as far as just the huge amount of demand that's going to be required in the very near future. So we're trying to do whatever we can to expand in multiple areas for our students so that when they do graduate, if they don't go on to a college to learn some other area,
Sure.
then they have a viable option for a job that they can go ahead and earn a very nice living for themselves.
so great. I mean, that's so important, and you can't ever take that away from somebody. You know,
exactly.
you get those skills, and even if they later decide, well, I think I will go get this degree or that degree, they still have that
Sure.
great talent.
That's right.
That's awesome. How about you, Terry?
And I would say in King George, we're really excited at how quickly the culture is changing in King George as a whole. We, of course, started with our business partners, but we're also working with our teachers. We want our teachers in King George High. We only have one high school, right? So you can turn a ship pretty quickly when you only have one high school and one middle school. At least that's our attitude. And we're already about 180 degrees. So excited to also spread that culture within the high school. The teachers this summer, we earned a grant through the Rotary, King George Dahlgren Rotary Club, to enable our teachers, 9 of them, to actually go out into the local workforce and industry this summer outside of their normal realm into CTE. So we have a Spanish teacher who's actually going to be working in emergency services,
Wow.
and we have a English teacher who's going to be in culinary arts, because that's an area we are aspiring to spread or expand into. Our marketing teacher actually is going to go check out what's going on with marketing at the local government level. So those are just a few of the things that we have going on there. But we really are creating, we want a common language. And so all of our, I was going to say next spring, our KG Career Academy structure within our CTE department is going to debut. And students who opt in after taking English 10, because our English 10 next year, all English 10 is going to have a career undertone. We had one test class this year. Next year will be the full rollout. Students will be creating a term paper. They'll have an industry tour. They're going to have some assessments, but they'll also, of course, attain all of those English 10 requirements. But it'll have an English 10, we'll have a career undertone, and at the end of that, I'll push in and talk to them about the 5 different programs that we have for them should they opt into a more structured experience at King George High School through our CTE department, and we call that KG Career Academy. So they'll actually get a chance to declare a program and then be specific about which flight path, we're calling them flight paths, our students can then go further into, whether that's drafting or whether that's horticulture. Maybe it is going into marketing, sports marketing. It could be going into our nurse aide and medical assistant program. But we want them to declare. We want them to make a decision. We want their parents to sign off on it. We want them to have their parents sign off to opt them out of it. We want them to persist through a pathway. And so that's going to go into play next year. And we're really excited about that. We also are looking forward, as you are, Al, in potentially expanding our program. So we are very excited to have both the support of our Germanna Community College as well as Rappahannock Community College. Germanna has come in and held after-hours core craft class, which has enabled students to leave with 2 credentials after hours for students who, for whatever reason, while they were with us in King George High School, did not get their OSHA 10 training by going through an advanced trades class while they were with us. They can pick that up before they graduate. in addition to NCCER, which is more of a construction skills, and then be at a jumping off point to be able to do more specialized trades training. So going into welding, whether that's through the Germana course, maybe going into an apprenticeship. We've had 2 apprentices this year. One went into 4 Elements as their first electrician apprentice from King George High School. We had one who went through the Independent Electrical Contractors Program, but they were able to do that because they had those base skills that they'd earned from having been in that Germana After Hours Core Craft class. RCC, we have Rappahannock Community College actually has a site on our campus, and students take dual enrollment have that as an opportunity to take dual enrollment while they're in King George High, or they can come after hours along with our adult education opportunities after hours. RCC is talking to us, and this summer we're going to talk a little bit more, maybe do some touring and have their chef come through and look at our cafeteria. We may actually be looking at possibility of starting, if it works out, we're at least in the talks of starting a small culinary program through a dual enrollment with Rappahannock Community College. So we're very grateful for those partnerships. We look forward to expanding where we can. And then there is an empty VOTEC building that used to be where we housed our VOTEC before we built the new high school, and now everything's under one roof. But our generous board of supervisors are now eyeing that as a potential for a feasibility study and possible refurbishment to be able to have room to expand. And so those little embers are starting, we think, to catch some smoke, and we hope there's going to be some fire here in King George in a little bit.
That's great. A lot there. And mentioning one of those recent partnerships with Germana, I think we just had an announcement also over your way with Germana, if you want to share some of that information.
Certainly. Last year, actually on May the 1st of last year, Dr. Gullickson and I entered an agreement, a 3-year partnership for our school. And in that agreement, we are providing to Germana half of our CTE building on our campus. And they have put in over the last year a lot of different equipment. In return, they are teaching our students during the day in different areas.
That's excellent.
So for the welding and the HVAC that we're having this fall, Germana faculty will be teaching our students. For the electrical classes we had this year, Germana faculty taught those classes. Then at night, we're providing the building to them so that they can open up the building to the community and teach those classes to anybody else in the area. So during the day, right now it's just Oberle students, and then at night it'll be anybody in the area would be able to use those facilities and everything. So
it's just great. I'm loving hearing all this, and I'm reflecting a little too on different pieces you all mentioned. If you don't know, my father, who is still with us, he's 86, is a retired school superintendent for Fredericksburg City Schools. And my grandfather used to be the industrial arts teacher. That's what they called it in the 70s at James Monroe. And I didn't go into that field, but I always, education the way they did. I shouldn't leave out Grandma Swartz. She was the dietitian for the school system and worked in administration for all the cafeterias. I think it's, as conversations I have to this day with my father, it's in your blood if you're giving back in this area. So as we start to wind up our conversation, I want to hear from both of you about your passion, you as an individual, your journey, and what really drives you, because I can feel it each time you both speak, this passion that you have for making a difference in this area of workforce development. Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. I didn't know which one. I think the biggest thing from my standpoint is my mother and father really instilled in all of the kids in my family just the need to give back always. My dad used to be on the Board of Supervisors in Stafford a long time ago, and he was involved in so many different boards.
Yes.
I couldn't even begin to count. And but he always gave back, and he always taught all of us in the family to do the same. And early on in my career, I began teaching at a university in Richmond, and just working with younger people and seeing how their face lights up when they really get something that you're trying to get across to them, and then having students come back and say, oh, I decided to be an accounting major based on taking one of my classes.
That's amazing.
And you just see the impact you have on these individuals, and that's what's driving me today as far as the Oberle Academy is concerned. Our students don't perform well in a traditional setting in the public schools. So our school was set up 34 years ago, and it has grown, and it's continuing. It's going to be growing considerably, I think, in the next few years. And if we can just add one more student and help one more student in the area, then I feel like we're successful. And that's our main goal, is to help as many kids as we can around here. And it doesn't matter whether they're in the Oberle Academy or King George or Fredericksburg. If we can do something to help more students in the area, then that's what we're here to do.
I love hearing it, Al. Love hearing that influence of the parents, and seeing how that impacted how you carried on through life, and then just knowing that if I can make a difference for one student. So as you look at that individual impact, it's just beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And how about you, Terri?
Well, I'd like to piggyback on what Al just so eloquently shared. We are here for the students. We are here from the students. My background is having been a middle school science teacher in Caroline County back in the day. Back in the day. And I intentionally worked with that secondary age. Having come back and having been invited back in 2017 to actually serve as an interim counselor, not for the mental health piece, but really for the career and college counseling piece, lit a spark in me to come back into the field of education after 25 years as a Mary Kay sales director and helping women to be successful in starting their own successful Mary Kay businesses.
Love that so much.
I love what you can do as a part of a team, and you can amaze yourself, but you as a whole group can just honestly do so much more than any of you ever individually could have imagined. And so coming back into the secondary level, it has been such a thrill to chase down opportunities for these students, because I know what they can, I can see what they can't, maybe see for themselves yet. I know with the wisdom of, all these years behind me of being able to amaze my own self and see other people's eyes and light bulbs come off, there's so much that they have ahead of them. They just don't know, right? They don't know what they don't know. And so with the league of partners that we have with us now, who are all wanting to help these students, we're all wanting the same thing. And we all want for them to be able to have living wage jobs, to be able to take advantage of opportunities, but they need to know how. They need to know the tips and the tricks of what you need to do to maximize, what power adjectives can you use to describe yourself? What have you already achieved? Many of these students feel like they haven't done anything yet. Like, oh, no. Have you babysat? Have you, we were talking about these things, and how can we describe you? Are you a connector? What are you? Are you an innovator? Are you a competitor? Let's talk about those power adjectives, because I promise every single one of you has attributes that would be deemed valuable by the right partner. And we just need them to have the opportunity for you to present those to them and for you to actually score that opportunity to be able to be in front of them. So, and be effective as you can be. So teaching them those things and then seeing them practice those things and then letting them go with the support of our community and with the support of our businesses, support of our educational partners, and we are working on getting the support of our parents, getting them involved in this conversation, getting them involved in the decision, so that all of us are talking that same language, so that those students can claim their future and attain their goals. No longer going to be a dream, but it's a goal when you put action behind it. So we're going to help them put the action behind their dreams so that they have achievable goals. And that lights my fire.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Nice.
I love it. I'm ready to go, and you guys are making me realize I should have said before, working here at the Chamber and with Leadership Fredericksburg with adult learners, we do leadership development. Mm-hmm. So all of us have different roles in the community. We're going into our 19th year with that now. Sure. And I guess I have a little of the bug in that way. So it really is. That one's my passion over here. So, wow. Without the passion for it, we would kind of just be showing up, right? So it really does make a difference to know you're making a difference, to care about that, peace and community, and just to be passionate about that difference. So I've just loved listening to both of you this morning. So we're going to go ahead and wind up. So I'll ask you both if there's anything else that you'd want to share with our listeners.
Well, I think from my standpoint, it would be to let any younger individuals know that there are just tremendous opportunities available if they just do a little research to find out what is really out there. I know not too long ago, Brian Runstad with Atlantic Builders took a number of our students, took them out to one of their home building sites, gave them a tour, showed them all about that, and then told them before they left that the building industries are in such need of individuals right now.
Absolutely.
That they will hire anybody without any experience, and they will fully train people. So it could be a CTE operation, but it could be going to a particular business and being trained and earning a very nice salary once they get their position and everything. So, to me, when I went to school in Stafford, you either got an academic, a general, or a vocational diploma. That was the three that you received, and you took certain classes for each one of those. And at that particular time, and this was eons ago for me, the blue collar workers were going to be the vocational people, and to be very honest, at that particular time, it was sort of looked down upon as far as the vocational versus the academic diploma. Yep. That is not the way it is any longer, I don't believe.
I think you're right.
Things have changed considerably, and you can actually, in the different trades, you can earn a lot more money than what other people do with their college degrees. So it really depends on where your aptitude is and what your desire for the future happens to be. And so I think for any person coming along through school now, they need to do the best that they can in the school environment, look at the different trades, look at college, and just make a decision which one is really right for me, and then go from there.
Great. Thank you for that. Terri.
And I'd love to just leave with your listeners an invitation. We definitely are still learning in King George. We want to continue to grow and create opportunities. And so I'd love to invite your listeners to, come and be a part of our conversation. If you have, we're going to need access to, other grant ideas to be able to expand our CTE. We could possibly use a corporate sponsor, for this building that we'd like to refurbish. We took a tour recently to Isle of Wight's beautiful Votech, refurbished Votech building down near Newport News, and Smithfield was their big corporate sponsor, and they did ask that they raise hogs, and so that was part of their deal. And they did have Smithfield on all of their jerseys and all of their polos. I'm willing to wear anyone's logo. We would definitely welcome opportunities and just further conversation in how we can grow what we've started in King George. We're really proud of what we've done so far in such a short time, but we still need to expand, and we can't do that without knowledge and resources and more partners who know more than we do. So join us in the conversation. And again, I am thrilled to be here learning more from you, Al. Thank you so much. This has been such a thrill for me to be able to learn from you here as well. And then the Chamber, Susan, oh my gosh. Thank you for allowing even a small rural division, to be an equal partner,
Of course.
and to be served in such a meaningful way. We really have thrived with the mentorship and support that we've had from the Chamber and from our partners that we've met through the Chamber.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. And again, thank you both for being here today. And thanks to our listeners for spending time with us today. Again, I'm Susan Spears with the Fredericksburg Regional Chamber of Commerce. We have been speaking with Al Fagan, the president and CEO of Oberle Academy, and Terri Rinko, work-based learning specialist and career readiness leader at King George County Schools. Both were the honorees with the Community Impact Award at the recent Chamber of Commerce Gala. We are thrilled to work with you in our community, and we invite our listeners to check both of your websites out and learn more. Again, thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next time.